and gentlemen, and welcome to another fantastic weekend of Formula 1 racing here on the EGL Extreme Gaming League. I'm Tipsy Bob, and joining me on the mic is my trusty sidekick and my good friend, Dad Bats. Covering all the action today, we're going to be covering everywhere from Monaco, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, and Bahrain, all across the world, all across the country. We have a full grid lined up, some of the best talent around the world. We have plucked them from all corners of the earth to give you some of the greatest racing experience footage you'll ever see in your lifetime. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the EGL. We go once and all. The cars are all lining up on the grid. They're all getting ready. The drivers will be focusing on their first corner. Are they going to take it? What are they going to do? Is it going to go deep? Are they going to go? Who knows? Let's take it out and away we go!
Hello and welcome everybody to Formula 2 SLR. We're here for I believe it's the 6th round. We're in Bahrain today. And we're already starting qualifying. Talking to you from the commentary booth are Everson XL and Boosted Mess.
Yes, good evening everybody. As Everson was saying there, we are in the deserts of Bahrain today. And qualifying's already underway with quite a few position changes actually at the top there. I was about to start calling out the leaders, but it's changing so quickly. It seems to be jumping between Hammer, Crystals, Makanda and Pretorius at the minute. Terra did seem to be leading that pack for quite some time at the beginning of the lap, but I suspect he may have had an error somewhere.
Oh, and there's
He's
some more
fallen right
changes
down
as
the
well.
list. Crystal's
Great,
now
so-
taking the lead.
And Makanda has taken the lead. Wow. I'm just following his Aiken here because he's been pretty consistently in 4th place here. Well, he's in 3rd place now. But yeah, looking like an interesting race if it keeps if they keep changing positions like this in the race as well. Definitely
Yeah,
a lot of
definitely,
contenders here.
A close field today, I think. Absolutely. It's a shame we can't ghost everybody and overlay them all over the top of each other in Spectator. That would be quite cool to see.
It would probably also be a mess because there would just be 10 cars driving through each other and we wouldn't know who's who.
Bailey looks like he's had a bit of an off somewhere. He's DNF'd from the qualifying, unfortunately. So he will be starting from the back of the grid.
And it's Crystal who
will be
takes
starting on
pole.
Look how close the times are.
Yeah, it just
Like
finished
10
within
cars
like a second.
disappeared, yeah. I need to have a look at those times again when they come up. That was incredible. Let's see now. Oh wow.
Yeah, that's some really close times. It's half a tenth between the top two, and then down from that, it's just about a tenth down to every single driver behind them, down to almost P10, I'd say. So very close qualifying.
Top 9 are all within a second of each other.
Yeah, that bodes well for the race, I think. So Crystal starting from pole. Behind that, we have Niebuhr, Joel, Makender, and Isaacen in the top 5. Then Icewind, Pemi, Pretorius, Futuristic, and Yoda rounds out the points positions in the race. And then after that, we have a few bigger gaps, with, of course, Bailey not being able to set a lap.
I think definitely a couple errors there from some of the guys at the back. I mean, we saw Classic last week. He was pretty quick, so I suspect he's had a bit of a mishap. Terra as well, unusually low there. So yeah, a couple guys may be struggling with the one-shot qualifying. It's always a bit nerve-wracking. The pressure's always on. You've only got the one chance really to try and get a decent start position, and if you make a mess of that, well, you've got a tough long race ahead of you.
Yeah, and we saw the same from Bailey as well. Bailey, of course, being one of the really quick guys here. He's shown his skill last season in F2, and yeah, it's really easy to just make one mistake and your lap is over.
Definitely.
Alright, so to the surprise of nobody, we have a dry race in Bahrain.
I don't think I've ever seen it rain in Bahrain, in the game anyway.
I'm wondering if it's actually programmed so it can't rain here.
That wouldn't surprise me.
And we're on the formation lap.
Just having a quick look at tyres. Everybody starting on the mediums, except Pretorius, who's starting on hards. He's in P8. That's a really interesting call. Yeah, looking forward to seeing how that goes.
I think Pretorius has made the opposite tire strategy work before, so we might be seeing some really good driving from him today. Maybe it was the right choice.
Just unusual to see someone go for that from slap bang in the middle of the grid.
Ooh, and Bailey is spinning again already.
Oh no! So the sandy conditions taking some people a bit by surprise today by looks.
What's interesting about the starting grid, we have Icewind and Pretorius, the two championship leaders, in P6 and P8, so they're not starting at the front. Even McKendra, who I believe is in P3 still, only starting from 4th, so there's some underdogs in the top 3 today.
Definitely, yeah.
Actually, really
Joel
good
as well.
qualifying from
Joel's
Joel.
been,
Yeah, I was about to say he's had some issues in the previous races with some incidents, some spins, I think. But yeah, really good qualifying from him. We're expecting something good with the pace he seems to have here.
He's been steadily improving over the F2 season, so it's been great to see how he's developed really. Because when he first started, he had no experience at all, and well, he just seems to be getting better and better and better at the minute.
Yeah, now he seems to be beating Pretorius, even his teammate here. So very interesting to watch for sure.
Yep.
Oh, and another spin from Bailey. I should really stop watching him.
Yeah,
I'm cursing him from just
liking
being
it.
here.
Bailey, just as a quick side note, or disclaimer, whatever you want to call it, did have issues with his pedals recently, where I believe he had a load cell fail on him, and he's also had a spring from his throttle pedal break, which means he's using the spring from his clutch pedal, and he's bodged his load cell back together, I believe. He doesn't have a new one yet, so he's kind of trying to get used to that setup a little bit at the minute. He's been complaining a bit about pace recently, so that's probably not helping him here today.
Yeah, I think that's something you really need to get used to. Well, he now rounds up the starting grid, and I think we're almost ready to start.
So it's looking good then for the Bahrain race here. So Crystals is on this front row here, and the lights are going to go out in a minute. There we go, and we are underway. Crystals looks like he's got a really good start, but Joel's got a good start too. I think Joel might be able to get side by side with Hammer coming into 2-1, maybe? No, not quite. McKender's coming down the inside of everybody. Thinks about it, thinks better of it. Around the outside, as Icon has a little look there as well. Somebody's falling right to the back of the grid there. Further down, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I'm going to keep looking at what's going on at the front here, because McKender is still side by side at the minute with Joel coming into the third corner, I believe it is, third or fourth corner now.
Oh, McKender's getting past Joel.
Yep, he's got it. And
is Aiken now looking towards the move?
As well.
Is Aiken trying to get past Joel here, trying to take advantage of that
flag.
mistake? That's a big miss. That was a big lock up there. It's only a yellow flag though, there's no safety car.
Oh, Yoda and Backrow both had spins. That's unfortunate. Two teammates there losing out on this opening lap.
As we now have Icewind getting past Futuristic here. I think back past Futuristic.
Oh,
Icewind
Joel's gone wide.
there.
Joel's gone very wide. As Icon's managed to get down the inside of him. This might get costly, as Icon's got the move done, but they're still side by side now. It comes to the end of this DRS straight. As Icon's going to have the inside line, but Joel's not giving up yet. He's still hassling him around the outside. Tucks slightly in behind. It looks like he might have another go onto the back straight here. Keep an eye on this when he comes around the corner, because this is very close. He does run a little bit wide there, but he's right back up behind him again, so...
Yeah, very close racing here. And now we have Pretorius catching up to them as well because of the battling. And Zaken has already lost a full second on McKender, so out of the DRS window already after one lap. Meanwhile, out in front, it's actually really close between the top two. Crystal and Niebuhr are only 5/10 apart, so still looking like a battle there.
All three of them had a very clean getaway, so they've been able to get a nice bit of clear air there.
Oh, we have Pretorius and Pemi both slipstreaming off the cars in front here. It's not quite enough yet, but as soon as we have the DRS
there's a move at the back.
there
That's
should be.
Classic Boy coming down the inside of Futuristic. He just looked like he was going to make it, but Futuristic managed to hold his line and
and there's
had the inside line
penalties.
for the next corner.
Alright, Classic Boy just got a penalty for cutting the corners, and Yoda has a 5-second penalty for going too quickly into the pit lane. as now the timing screen is broken again. Wonderful.
Yeah, we'll ignore that for now while we carry on here. Looks like somebody's had a spin in the first sector there, I think. Oh no, that's Bailey's had a bit of a struggle there. Because he's still getting used to that.
We have Icewind really close to Pemi. Icewind looking to line up a move here down the straight, I think. And there's a lot of lockups here through this turn, and I think it's turn 8 and 9. Those are already challenging in the F1 cars, but in the F2 cars it's even harder to not lock up there.
Oh, we've got some side-by-side action here. This is Joel looking like he wants to have a go on his Zykin. He tucks back in.
He does have the
Anyway,
inside line.
He's going to tuck in. He's still there.
On the outside now, but still holding on.
Oh, he's going to get squeezed out there. He's not far enough alongside him. Yeah, quite wisely backs out and tucks back in behind. Of course, this puts him under pressure now from Pretorius. I wonder if we're going to see maybe a bit of team orders maybe coming into play here. Pretorius, of course, leading the championship at the minute. But
It sure
no,
doesn't look like
Joel's
team
gonna go
orders.
for it.
Yeah,
Oh.
Joel is still trying to make that move on his Aiken stick. And he's right behind now for the straight. I don't think they have DRS now. I think that must be a display bug.
Yeah, I think so. I think DRS will be on the
But
next
Joel
lap.
is definitely very close.
Oh, and he's next to him. He's going for it. They are side by side now. Is he going to have enough pace to stick it out? Who's going to break last?
Oh, they're side by side, and Joel is ahead. And he makes the move stick as well. We have Pretorius down the outside of the Aiken now. He's also trying to line up a move, and now they have the DRS, so both the Aiken and Pretorius are going to be able to open their rear wing. And they get very close in the break-in zone. Pretorius now with a lockup, and Icewind takes advantage of that right away. Wonderful move there. And they're still side by side, but Icewind has his nose ahead, and he locks up as well. But it's late enough. He's made the move stick.
A very clean pass there from Icewind. That was really well done and very opportunistic. Good to spot the action as it was unfolding in front of him there.
Now
Have
Joel is
another
going to
spin
be
in
in
the
the
back.
defense. Now Aiken has the DRS now, so there's going to be the chance of a move here for sure.
Yeah, Planbert's had a bit of a visit to the wall, unfortunately, at the back of Sector 1 there. He's missing part of his wing now. He's going to try and limp it round to the pit lane. Meanwhile, the top three really pulling away, so it's actually quite a nice, no actual physical battle as such, but I guess somewhat of a psychological battle, the top three. They're all within a second of each other, so all just pushing each other along the track as much as they can. And this fight that we're constantly seeing between Joel and Icewind, as I see another position change at the back there. Which
Yes,
is
Icewind does move past the Aiken, so he's going to be...
doesn't...
Oh, they're still side by side
I
into
thought he might
the
go.
straight. But we have Pretorius right behind them, so he might be lining up a move as well. Yeah, it's looking very strong for him. Icewind pitting! Did he have wing damage? Can you check him out in the pits, actually? We can see the pit stops now.
Intact. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with his wing. It must just be pitting for...
Pretorius not quite able to make the move here, and now Pretorius is going to be on defense because both Pemi and Futuristic are right behind him and trying to line up a move now. Trying to get closer, but Pretorius still has the DRS as well.
Really also pitting. He's also going onto the hard tyres now, so this must be strategic then. Just an early stop then, undercut. Somebody else at the back, they're coming down into pit as well. That's our plan, but of course...
Futuristic and Pemi are side by side through these turns here. These are really fast turns, so it's not easy to go side by side here. But they managed to not touch. And it's still Pemi out in front and Futuristic right behind. But they're both losing time to Pretorius now. As
the
meanwhile...
top three have really closed up. Crystals is all over the back of Hammer now. Of course, Crystals and McKenna will both have DRS and the slipstream now, but McKenna's benefiting from a double slipstream. I suspect they might be close enough that we might see a move over the start-finish straight.
Oh, McKenna's really catching up to Crystal.
Oh!
That was almost a dive
yeah,
down the inside there. I believe he was thinking about a dive there because Crystal took a very wide line and there was space there. Oh, Crystal! Yep, that's the spin.
Oh, no.
And McKenna... Oh, and he retires as well.
Yeah, so... classic
Right into the wall.
Codemasters bug where you crash into the rubber tyres and you kind of get stuck there for a second, think you've got away with it, and then your wheel falls off. So,
oh, and there must be a safety car. It's a full safety car, yes, and that means everybody's going to be pulled
we can't see the yellow.
Yes. I think Aiken stayed out, actually. Yeah, Aiken staying out as, I believe, the only medium runner so far. Possibly, actually, the only one.
Oh, loads of pit lane speeding penalties coming in there.
So Aiken now in the lead of the race. Is there position changes in the pits as well? So Niebuhr stays out in front of McKender. Pemi and Futuristic were really close, so was Joel. I think Joel keeps his position. And then behind, Pemi still ahead of Futuristic as well. Not seeing any big position changes. And Pretorius has pitted as well. So Pretorius now on the medium tires. He's gonna have to make 11 laps. That shouldn't be that easy.
Isn't it?
It could be possible, I think, but it's definitely not gonna be fun.
Good evening, Wimpy. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far. The action that we've had already, just barely into this race, and it's lively as anything. You should come and have a shot in the F2 cars, actually. You should put yourself in as a reserve some week. Have a go. As Zykin leading us round behind the safety car.
Yeah, so that's going to be very interesting for him, because he's decided not to pit here. His tires aren't going to be looking that great in a few laps, and that means everybody behind him is going to try to get past. Should be interesting for strategy. We also have Pretorius and Plambert both on new mediums, so Plambert has also committed to some fresh mediums now.
I'm not sure
Maybe
what
the
happened, but McKender's managed to pick up a 5-second penalty, so I guess that was for speeding into the pit lane. He must have been one of the other guys that had that.
Okay, so we have McKender on 5 seconds. So do back row Yoda and Classic Boy, and Classic Boy has another corner cutting penalty as well, so he's on 8 seconds.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Crystals there. He was having a really good race as well. It looks like there's another something going on the track there. There's a stationary car.
Oh, Azaken pits now. He must have been.
That's.
Oh, he must have been past the pit entry. No, he wouldn't have been.
Or avoiding the double stack. Although I don't think he has a teammate today, does he?
No, he doesn't. Huh? Maybe he just wasn't sure about his strategy then, and decided, well, rather pit now than never, which might be the sensible choice.
His race then.
Oh, and Pretorius pits again. He's gonna go for the hards again. That's interesting strategy.
I have no idea what these guys are doing.
He's surely gonna go for the hards again because he knew he wouldn't make it far enough on the mediums.
Why would you pit for mediums under the safety car just to go back onto the hards again? He was already on the hards. You'd think he'd stay out. Oh!
He has to make a pit stop. So
they need to pit after the 3 laps. Is that what it is? Are we still within that window?
No, we're on lap. I think we were on lap 4 or 5 when the safety car started.
So we should have been just past it then. So yeah, very unusual strategy calls here then.
Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's after 3 laps are done. I'm not sure. But I believe they would have been able to pit there, so I don't think we'll see any disqualification from that. Except for maybe Yoda, because he did pit very early, but there wasn't a safety car, so it should be fine. Right.
We need someone in chat to clarify that for us.
Yes, please, FIA, let us know. Right, so now we're following.
I'm hoping we'll get underway again now on this lap. We've already been behind the safety car for 2 laps now.
I doubt it because
field
there's
is a bit
still
spread out, though.
Yes, there's still quite some gaps at the rear. Let me pull up the map. Yeah, I don't think the safety car is coming in. The safety car loves to just stay out forever, especially in these F2 races when you don't have a lot of laps to go.
Yeah. 10 laps left, of course. Lots of weaving going on in the background as everybody tries to keep the tyres warm. Of course, critical that you don't nudge or tap or bump anybody in front or behind you, because that will get you and that person involved a 5-second penalty. Of course, this is the great equaliser of this race. We've had all the action of the start. Now we're essentially back to a full restart just about. Everybody's on equal tyres at the front, so...
yeah, it almost feels like we have not
reset,
just...
isn't it?
It feels like we not just have 2 Formula 2 races every week. We have more like 4 or 5 races because there's always a safety car in between.
Plambert pits there now as well. He's switching from his 2-lap-old mediums onto hards again.
Yes, he's probably doing the same as Pretorius. Saw that he wouldn't make it for the full race. Now he's gonna have to hurry a bit though. He's gonna have to make it.
Yeah, because the safety car's surely not going to go around once more again.
Yeah, I doubt
that
it.
Must be it now. always wonder what the drivers must be thinking in these moments when they're just following the safety car around. I know that when I'm driving in F1, I get very sort of nervous isn't the right word, but you know, that kind of anxious to get going again, and you're in a state where you're constantly having to pay attention and focus, ready in case, you know, is this the lap where it's coming back in again? Is this where we go green again? And
Honestly, I wish I was
surprisingly
capable.
stressful.
I wish I was capable enough of driving under a safety car that I wouldn't that I had any chance to think about anything else while I'm driving. But I'd assume usually I'm just talking all the way through, so not really a change for me.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, but I'm sure a lot of these drivers are ready to get going now. They're probably having the same thoughts as we do, that the safety car is surely going to come in this lap and let us continue this very action-filled race.
Looks like Plambert might actually make it onto the back of this train as well. And safety car, of course, is in this lap as well. So great to see. So Hammer taking over now the pace of the grid.
Yes, and he's going very slow for now and just warming up the tires.
Oh, and Larson has joined. Hello, Larson. Hope,
Interesting. One more driver for today.
Well, if he stays long enough, he might get into the second race. Crystal's, of course, deciding he's seen enough. He's left the session already. Anyway, Hammer now takes us round the final corner of the circuit and onto the start-finish straight to begin the second part of this race.
He's gone.
He's gone already, yep. But
we do have McKenna right behind.
There.
Yeah,
And he's closing.
He managed to make a really good start there.
Are we going to see a dive? And he's going. He's on.
Oh, he's on the
he
inside,
had a look.
but
He
we
had
have a
look.
move of Futuristic on Pemi. And Futuristic does make it stick, so he was right behind Pemi as well at the race start, and just hung on to the back of him, and managed to make the stack, the pass stick. But now McKenna on the outside.
Side by side, yeah.
Yeah, side by side through this turn. There's a few lockups there. Niebuhr's staying in front for now, but McKenna is still pushing, trying to get that position.
Both drivers
Oh,
really
they're just
squeezing each other to
weaving
the edge of
next
the
to each
track.
other. Yeah, McKenna now in front, but Niebuhr might have another chance to get back at him, especially as soon as they got onto the straight.
Iceman sends it down the inside of Classic Boy and makes that stick as well. That was incredible. The Classic Boy is not full finished yet. He's coming back down the inside of him now onto the DRS straight. And doesn't he get back? Oh, he's just clipped the curb there. Looked like the back got a little bit out of control. They're side by side now on the DRS straight.
We have a lot of close battles here out in front as well. So Joel and Futuristic and Pemi are really close together. They're right behind their Hammer. And McKenna makes a bit of a mistake. McKenna goes very wide through that long turn there. And now it's Niebuhr back on the offense to trying to get back the lead of this race. And they're almost on the straight again.
Onto that straight.
Meanwhile, we have Isaacen in P12 with both Pretorius and Plambert right behind. But quite a gap to Bailey. I think Bailey's doing really well at this race, at this restart.
Oh,
and he's making up
wiggle from
positions. Bailey just got past Yoda as well.
There's
Joel
gonna be a
right
pass,
behind
I
their
think.
Hammer.
Joel is, yeah, I was going to say Joel looks like he's going for it. Is he? Yes, he is. They're side by side. Joel's got the inside line. He's
And
made
he
it
does
stick
brake
as
later.
well. That was a wonderful pass from Joel.
But now Niebuhr getting a really good exit out of that turn, and he's going to be almost back past him already.
Straight back on him, yeah.
Definitely going for a move. And they're side by side through this turn again. Very interesting to watch all these cars going side by side through there.
Oh, they get all so close as well, just watching it from on board with
And Niebuhr now
with
just
Hammer
backing
there.
out, just making sure there's not any contact. And Joel does keep P2 for now. So yeah, their Hammer dropping down the field a bit.
Iceman's on the offensive again. This time he's all over the back of back row and very keen to get past. I wonder if we'll see a dive coming onto this DRS straight. Oh, big lockup though. Oh, but I think who's that? Back row's gone a bit wide there actually, so Iceman might have got a better run out of this. There's two more guys side by
And
side
we have
further up ahead.
Pemi
That's
back
Pemi
past
Futuristic.
Futuristic, yeah. Taking the outside line, but it works because Futuristic has to tuck in behind there. They're all keeping it very clean right now. Terra is also getting in on the action.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned Terra much, have we? This is second showing in F2 this season. Yeah.
Oh, and there's
we
a
had
spin! That's Icewind!
Oh no!
Icewind is around. I think he was trying to make a move on back row.
I don't know if there was contact at all or if he just spun out by himself there, but yeah. The saving grace is that the field is still very bunched up, and most of the guys are actually
Oh,
fighting,
Terror
so they
right
could
behind
get caught back
Futuristic,
up.
and he's going quicker than Futuristic on the straight as well. That might be another move down the main straight.
He's surely got enough momentum to get this done. Who's going to break last?
And
It's going to be Terra.
Oh, and Terra is passed as well. Futuristic staying very safe there.
Bailey gets past Classic Boy as well, further down the grid, in the exact same corner.
Yeah, it's almost looking like we have two trains forming now that the DRS is enabled, because we have quite a big gap between back row and now Bailey.
Oh, Pretorius and Yoda as well, side by side now. Looks like Yoda managed to get around the outside of... sorry, Pretorius managed to get around the outside
Oh, and
of Yoda,
Yoda's
who spins!
almost off the track. He managed to catch it though.
That was a very good save.
And Pretorius back on the back of his Aiken. Talking about backs, let's check out back row. He's right in the middle of this DRS train. He's right at the back of this DRS train. He's trying to get close to these other cars and lining up a move on Futuristic now. So he might be the next one getting past here.
Pretorius as well, making a move on a Zyken, I think. Yep, pulls out to the side, so pulls straight back in again though, so the side's better of it.
And we have Classic Boy thinking about a move on Bailey here, which is quite surprising given Bailey's pace that we've seen in F2 before. But yeah, he has the DRS and he's going to stick to the back, trying to stay within this DRS train.
Macro is slowly closing in on Futuristic as well. Will he be able to have a chance on this start-finish straight?
We also have Der Hammer on the start-finish straight right now, and he has the DRS on Joel, who doesn't have any DRS, because he's more than a second behind McKenna, and now that might be a chance for a move? No, not quite. Der Hammer just sticks
maybe
behind.
strategic though, because he'll be able to get the move on the next DRS zone perhaps. There's a spin in the first corner.
Oh, and there's Terror! Terror's around.
Oh, and there's
he's spun the
carbon
car back
fiber
now.
rolling across the track there, so somebody somewhere has got front wing damage.
I don't think it's Terror. I think he might have touched somebody, actually. There's a... Wait, let me check. It's not Bailey. I think it might be back row. I think back row might have damage.
Yep, you're right. He's missing his right hand.
Oh, and yeah, he's going very slowly through this sector, and now Bailey ran into the back of him as well. I'm hoping he doesn't
Bailey
also have
spins
damage
it down
now.
the inside, and there's a huge lock-up from Bailey.
He does get
goes out
past.
and back row gets him back and squeezes him right off the track.
Yeah, so back row not ready to give up yet. He doesn't have a lot of wing damage, so he's still fighting for position here. And we do have Classic Boy and the Zaken and now Pretorius as well getting in on that fight right here. They're all fighting for P5 now.
Pretorius wants to get moved on there, but he can't get past because the guy in front, the Zyken, also has DRS. So
oh, and Bailey trying another move on back row. Oh, and he runs into the back of him again. Yeah, he's really keen to get a move on here, but running into the back of him might not be the best strategical choice.
He's got the exit this time.
Oh,
though,
and
so
Pretorius pulling out on the inside as well. Again, he's really trying to get past the Zaken here. Bailey braking just that tiny bit later, and he's passed for now. He does have the DRS for the straight as well, so back row without DRS on the straight, and that might be a move for Classic Boy as well.
Macro also staying out with that wing damage, so he's hoping to go to the end now as we see another move being made further back. That's Classic Boy trying to get past him now. Goes down the inside, makes it stick almost side by side with Bailey as well. Bailey running very wide into that first corner.
Yeah, now Bailey doesn't have the DRS, so there might be some more moves on this next straight. Futuristic is now... he's got more than a second on Bailey now. So
and Classic Boy down the inside of... it looked like he was going to throw it down the inside of back row once again.
Oh, and Pretorius and the Zaken very close to each other, and I think that's Pretorius pass now. One of them had a bit of wheel spin there out of that turn. I'm assuming it's the Zaken, and now Pretorius, of course, passed for P9 and chasing after back row instead. Back row, of course, still with the wing damage, so might be a pretty easy move here, especially in these turns. It should be pretty tough to drive.
Oh, there's side by side possibly just ahead of that, unless...
Oh yeah, it's Classic Boy trying another move on Bailey.
Yeah,
and he's passed. Oh, but Bailey keeps the outside line.
Yep.
Yeah, he really doesn't want to give up that position. But he still hangs on. They're still side by side, and he has the inside line now. Classic Boy has to slot in behind, and now Bailey might just be off to chase after Futuristic. Meanwhile, out in front, their Hammer's still in P3, but still also within the DRS window of Joel, so those two staying very close to each other.
And they're pulling away now from Joel, setting fastest lap as well as he does so. That gap is ever increasing now, 2.5 seconds.
Pretorius
Still a very
right
level
behind
playing
Backrow
field,
still. And Pretorius is going quicker on the straight. He's using that slipstream to his advantage. Oh, Backrow going for a very defensive line here. And Pretorius has to stay behind for now, but he's going to have DRS on the second DRS straight as well. But so is Backrow, because all of these cars are still very close to each other.
Pretorius,
very much a
Pretorius
train.
pulls out, Backrow goes defensive, so Pretorius pulls back over onto the outside line. Is he going to switch back
Oh,
over?
he does
And
switch back.
does.
It's not quite enough yet, though. He doesn't have enough speed to get past here.
Big lockups again into the next corners there.
And they're
He's
side
still
by
not
side
finished,
again. Oh, Azaken!
Oh.
Azaken now going around the outside. Yeah, he went very deep there. I think that might have been a bit of a lockup.
It's going to
And now
cost
he's
him now.
battling
Terror's
Terror.
gone past. If he's not careful, Planbert's going to have a go here as well. It's quite a
and
DRS train.
there's some position changes out in front. I think there was a move by their Hammer on Joel, but he doesn't make it stick for now. So it's still Joel and P2 for now, but those two are getting ever closer.
Looks like Pretorius is going to go around the outside, is he?
He
Tried
does
to
go
around the
off
outside
track
back
for a
row.
bit there.
Oh, there's a bit of nudging and bumping there. So we see who's going to go for the move down the back straight here. Does anyone have the momentum?
Backrow, by the way, has now lost 2.6 seconds on Classic Boy, so
Yeah, he needs to drive as
That wing
defensively as he
damage-
possibly can now. As Bailey sets a fastest lap.
and now Pretorius is making the move, and I think he might just make it stick because he's gonna have a lot of overspeed on the straight. And
Terror's gonna
Classic,
have a go as
no,
well.
that's Terror. Terror also going for a move there, yeah.
Oh, it's close. It's very close. Terror has to back out, but he's going to lose position.
Oh,
now to
Azaken, yeah, Azaken is on the inside. Backrow possibly trying to get back past here, but it's not quite enough, and Pretorius does get P8 here, so he's at the head of the DRS train now.
Bailey split the Pemi Futuristic fight. When did that happen?
Oh, that's impressive, yeah. Those two were really close to each other all race. I think Futuristic just lost a bit of time to Pemi there, and without the DRS he wasn't able to defend against Bailey.
Futuristic still hanging on to the back of Bailey, so we might see a position change back again. We've only got 2 laps left in this race. It's been full of action so far.
Yeah, and this DRS train here at the back is definitely... Oh, what happened to Plumbert there? I think that was a spin combined with a penalty there. Niebuhr, by the way, just within 1 second of Joel still. Still trying to hang on to that DRS, but it might not be enough. There's only 2 laps left.
Era is very close to the back of Backrow now onto his back straight. It looks like he's got a half decent exit here, so he might go for the move unless he decides to hold out for the DRS zone. I'll say Backrow's driving incredibly well once again with that damage, but we've seen that a lot from him this season. He'll pick up a bit of wing damage and just keep going, and he drives so well.
Well, he does have the experience now, so... But yeah, Backrow definitely still on the defense here, but
And
can't
Terror
defend from
sends
Terror,
it
who has
past,
a
yep.
lot of overspeed on the straight, and
There's
Azaken does as well. And Icewind trying.
Go on Terror. Azaken's
Ooh.
going down the side of Terror as well.
Azaken looking at that double move. Yeah, I think that might not have been the smartest
Backrow.
move. I think he might have just had to slot in behind there. Oh, Icewind going very wide. Oh yeah, and he's
saves
back
it.
on the track now. But yeah, Azaken and Icewind getting extremely close to each other there. Classic Boy picking up another penalty. That's going to be a lot of penalties, and I don't think that's going to keep him in the points positions anymore. Terror has spun, and he's got a lot of
he's
wing damage.
damaged,
Yeah, I think that might be the race over for him, especially with just 2 laps left.
Yeah. That's really unfortunate for Terror. He was looking really fighty there. He's getting involved in quite a lot of the position changes there. So unfortunate for him. Meanwhile,
Oh, we
there's
have
another position
Futuristic.
change. I was
Yes,
going to
that's
say
Icewind
Iceman
past
just
Yoda.
sends it past Yoda, yep.
Yeah, but we have Futuristic fighting back against Bailey. Still, he's still very close to him and still very much trying to get that position back and back to his good friend Pemi. Those two have been battling for quite a bit of the race. Oh, Pretorius is very much catching up to the back of Classic Boy here.
And passes him.
Oh, he's not passed quite yet. Who's gonna break later? Classic Boy taking a very wide line here. I think he braked a bit too late.
But Pretorius is gonna have to DRS,
I think.
So.
No, it does. It is Classic Boy with the DRS. Oh, and these cars are so close here. Icewind and back row, right behind the Zaken here. Oh, and there's bumping and bumping and bumping, and they're 3 wide.
Zaken in the perfect position because he's on the inside.
Lots more bumping.
Back row runs wide and almost collecting a Zaken with him there.
And now a Zaken pushing him wide, so Zaken now behind Icewind and P10.
The final lap now, so
oh, McKendra has picked up a penalty. No, he's had that for a while now, but he's 5 seconds ahead of Joel, so it's gonna be very close at the end of the race. Yeah, he has a 5-second penalty, and there's 5 seconds between them as well. Joel is now pushing, trying to get close enough to McKendra to take advantage of that penalty. Is it gonna be enough though?
It's so close, isn't it? Keeps jumping between 1 and 3/10, so yeah, very, very close.
Pretorius trying one more move past Classic Boy, not quite enough.
Pretorius, of course, will inherit that position from Classic Boy when they cross the line. McKendra, meanwhile, comes around the final corner now. Oh, there's a bit of a wiggle. That's not a clean exit on that corner, sorry. So Joel's probably going to close in on that. Crosses the line, takes the lead.
Yes, Joel is catching up.
Will Joel make it? And Joel takes the lead.
Oh, and it's not quite enough for Niebuhr. He's so close as well. That was extremely close at the end there.
A second. Unbelievable racing. Classic Boy crosses the line there with Pretorius, who takes position from him. Icewind will surely take that as well. He does.
Yeah, that's going to be Icewind and Pretorius in the top 2 at the start of the sprint race for the reverse grid.
Of course, these guys leading the championship as well. It is very close between the two now, and finishing 7th and 8th is not going to close that gap any further. They're still going to be close. McKendra maybe being the one to maximise here with the points. Finishing in 2nd position.
Very strong race from Joel. He's managed to keep Niebuhr behind for a very long time and also caught up to McKendra at the end. Just enough to take advantage of that 5-second penalty.
Yep, I'm hugely impressed with his driving today. What a race. I'm going to catch my breath for a second while we prepare for the sprint race.
Well, I was going to do the same, but somebody has to talk, so the game does award the driver of the day to Bailey Thompson. He's come back from the back of the grid. He's made up quite some positions as well, but not enough for a podium position. And here we have it, Joel winning the feature race, and McKendra, their hammer in P2 and 3. So for the sprint race, we're gonna have Icewind on pole, and Pretorius right behind him. That's gonna be interesting to watch.
So unfortunate for Crystals, who we lost very early on in the race there. He had a spin on the exit, but other than that, actually very clean driving, I feel like, today. We didn't have any major bumps. We had a bit of paint trading going on, a bit of pushing and shoving, but yeah, nothing crazy, which is good to see. So
and Crystal did join back into the session, so we're gonna have him back for the sprint race now. So he's looking to make up some positions there as well.
I wonder if Larson is still with us, and will we see him on the grid on the next race as well? I don't think I saw him leave.
Right, so very action-packed race there, and it was 16 laps. We're gonna have even less than that now. I think it's about 11 laps maybe. So gonna be even more action-packed, I believe. Especially with the reverse grid, it's usually very interesting to watch because there's some quicker guys behind coming through the ranks.
Like we're going to have well, it's not really much of a surprise, is it? A dry race for the sprint race.
Oh, another dry race in Bahrain. Who would have thought? Alright, everybody's getting ready.
Larson is going to get a race. Excellent. So we're going to have an extra driver.
Wonderful.
I would imagine he'll be starting from the back of the grid. So yeah, be interesting to see how he progresses through the grid. We'll be underway with a formation lap momentarily.
And there we go.
Icewind takes us away, yep.
So it's Icewind, Pretorius, Futuristic, Bailey, Pemmy, Derhammer, McKender, and Joel is the starting grid for this race. Yeah, I think the medium tires wouldn't have made it long enough, just judging from what we saw during the feature race, where Pretorius had to pit again to go back onto the hards.
I imagine the average speeds are quite high on this track. The corners are generally speaking quite fast and quite flowy, so it does eat the tyres up quite quickly.
Yeah, and it's usually very hot here as well. I think that does contribute to tire temperatures as well.
Yep.
So quite tough to keep these tires in the working window.
See if everybody can make it round cleanly then on this formation lap. No spin so far, everybody doing well.
And we have been seeing a lot of lockups as well this race. That's something that's pretty usual for F2, but I think there's just a few more lockups today because this track is quite easy to do that on, and the tires do wear quite a bit towards the end of your stint as well.
Yep, of course, very tail happy, these cars. They will spin out on you if you let them, more so than the F1 cars. I think they've got slightly less downforce than the F1 cars have, of course. Also a slightly different power delivery.
Yes, you do get both understeer and oversteer in these cars compared to the F1s.
Yep.
So quite hard to handle sometimes. Some drivers have actually said that they prefer these cars, but yeah, for most of them I think it's a bit more of a challenge to handle these cars, especially for a full race without spinning. We do see a lot of spins in these F2 races as well.
They do look good fun though. It's these races are always quite action-packed. There's never a dull moment.
Yeah,
I don't think it's very often we find ourselves with a sort of silence that needs to be filled. There's always something happening somewhere.
And we do have Larson pulling up to the last grid slot slowly, so he's going to be racing with us right behind Crystal for the race start.
Okay, so here we go then. The lights are coming on as we speak. We have 5 lights lit. We have 5 lights out, and Icewind takes us away on this sprint race in Bahrain. Looks like he's had a really good start there. Pretorius is just sticking on the inside.
Oh, and Bailey!
Bailey, what a start he's had. He's sent it down the inside of Pretorius here. He's on the outside line out for the next corner. If he can just hang on, he doesn't. He wiggles and runs wide. It's going to allow Futuristic to come back down the inside of him, and he does.
And Derhammer also trying to get back past, so I think it might be barely back to P5 in a second, but
Joel already making a move as well. Joel's past McKender and up into
Classic Boy.
Classic Boy as well, follows him through.
Yeah, McKender losing positions here at the start.
Hemi being forced out wide as well. Joel up another position. Joel's in P6, that's 2 positions already.
And Bailey still making moves. Bailey got past Futuristic now, diving down the inside here.
McKender's just tumbling down the grid here. Oh, and somebody's gone very deep into that corner. I think that's Classic Boy there. Manages to get back in, pushes back row a little bit. But generally speaking, everybody seems to be getting on okay.
We do have some close battles here, but we also have 1 second back from Pretorius to Bailey. So already quite some gaps out in front.
See, Icewind already pulling
Classic Boy hitting the back of back row there.
As well. Does he have damage? I don't think he does. It looks like he's okay.
Yeah, it was just a light tap. Also McKenna on the back of Pemmy here. We have quite a few duels here.
Yeah, Plambert and Terrace, these are teammates now coming into the final corner. They'll have to be very careful not to touch. There's a bit of a lock-up, and this is allowing Crystals to get right up beside them as well. So Crystals hoping for a 2-in-1 here. He's still on the inside. Terra's going... Terra's on the far inside, and Plambert's going defensive. So Crystals send it into the first corner here.
Oh, they're hammering! Oh, there's contact! Oh, what happened there? I
Oh,
think it
no,
was
and
their hammer
Hammer's
touching
falling
with
down.
Futuristic. Yeah, I think it was their hammer and Futuristic.
And there's more carnage up ahead. There's
Ooh, who's
3
that?
of them. That's
Plumber
Plumber,
and
Terra,
Terra.
and a Zykin, is it, I think?
Oh, yeah, that was... I'm not exactly sure what happened there, because the timing screen was also broken at the same time. But yeah, some really big contact there. Maybe somebody got out of shape because they saw the spin of Niebuhr ahead.
All 3 of them pointing the wrong way in the first chicane there. All 3 of them getting themselves turned around and are back underway.
And
Which
out
means
in
all
front
3
we
of them
have...
are once again fighting.
Out in front we have Pretorius and Icewind battling it out. And it's Pretorius who gets a really good run out of that turn. So now right besides Icewind now for the straight, but not quite enough. Tucks him behind and waits for another day.
They continue up the sweeping left-hander towards the final section of this track. Got a couple little pockets of action then. So we've got Pretorius and Icewind leading us around the track at the minute. And then we have the Bailey train, which stretches all the way back to Pemi. And then after that we have the Futuristic train, which stretches back to Yoda. There's action already going on there. I think that's Classic Boy and Crystals are now going side by side. Oh, and further at the front as well, there's some more overtaking going on between Futuristic and Back Row. And all 4 of them are kind of all over the top of each other now as we come down onto the start-finish straight.
Yeah, Classic Boy and Back Row, the 2 that are side by side here, but Futuristic, the one out in front who doesn't have any slipstream. And it's Bailey who makes the move past... Wait, 1 second. It's Joel who makes the move past Bailey here, and Bailey is losing positions because McKenna's also getting past. Terra just retired somewhere.
He's pitted and called it a day there, so obviously had enough of this race.
Oh, and Bailey spins! Bailey has spun. So he's gonna lose a lot of positions as well. And it's now Joel and McKenna who are chasing as per
Oh, and
Icewind
there's
and
more
Pretorius out
carnage in the
front.
back there. Crystals is coming down the inside of Bailey. Opportunistic as ever, and he's wide.
Oh, and who's spinning now? It's Bailey again. Bailey has spun once more, and he retires as well.
As well, yeah. That wheel is not going back on that car.
Oh, and Pretorius trying to line up another move on Icewind here. He has the DRS now, but it's still not quite enough. Still right behind.
More people in the back. Somebody else spinning in the back there now. I think that's a Zykin went saved it, but went very sideways onto the DRS straight. Now under pressure from Plambert. So quite a bit of carnage in this sprint race.
Yeah, definitely. We had a very clean... Oh,
more
side-by-side action.
Futuristic and
yeah.
Back Row, yeah. Back Row is going to have the inside line here into the final corner, but he tucks in behind Futuristic for a bit more DRS. Slipstream, sorry. Not going to go for the send here. Gives him a little love tap into the final corner though, just for good measure. Crystals is getting right up and involved here now as well.
Meanwhile, we have McKenna moving past Joel here. And I think he's made the move stick as well. Yeah, Joel is behind before the end of the straight here. But, oh, McKenna locks up quite a bit, goes very deep. And it's Joel who has the advantage now with the DRS. And he's going to try to make a move right back past. I think there's also a move for the lead. Pretorius going on the inside of Icewind now. And he's passed. Icewind almost spinning a bit there. Yeah, that was very close. So now it's almost a damn sandwich here.
Yeah, we've
with
got
Icewind and McKenna in between.
Dams v BWT and Dams v BWT again. So it's these 4 seem to be the top runners in most of these F2 races. Looks like the sort of Mercedes Red Bull of the F2 season.
Classic Boy and Futuristic fighting it out here still, and in front of them we have Crystal and Back Row also fighting for position. Icewind right on the back of Pretorius again. We might see him a few more moves here. It's still 8 more laps to go, so quite some time for some moves to be made.
The original DRS trains that we did have now also merged, so they have linked their carriages together. We now have a long DRS train from Back Row, I think all the way back to Hammer, so quite a few drivers involved in that. They're all very close to each other coming into the final corner of the track once again. Crystals looks like he might be in a position to make a move.
Icewind got slightly out of shape here out of the last turn, so he's quite a bit back from Pretorius. It might still be enough to make a move though. On the outside, Pretorius keeping the inside line, going very defensive. Icewind breaks a bit later. Was it too late though? He's got the inside line, and Pretorius is gonna be behind for now.
Yep,
But there's DRS involved again.
While we're looking at that, Crystal's just managed to make his way past Backrow as well, sends it down the inside at the end of the DRS straight on the start-finish line.
I'm also seeing some very close battles between Futuristic, Larson, Yoda, and their Hammer at the back. Yeah, those guys went, I think, almost 3 wide into turn 1.
Yeah, there's a nice little pocket of activity here. We might see a few more drivers outbraking one another coming onto the start of this DRS straight. So Icewind leads us down it. Icewind has gone wide though.
Oh yeah, he's off the track. That's interesting.
Pretorius has got back at him.
I'm not exactly sure what I was looking at there. But yeah, Icewind now back behind Pretorius.
Did look like a bit of a corner cut from Pretorius and unsettled the car, so Icewind's managed to get right back up to him again. Coming down onto this back straight now, Icewind looks like he's very close. That gap is closing, so maybe in a position to think about another move here. We're almost up to halfway through this race now.
Pretorius locking up just a bit, and Icewind in a perfect position to take that position back now.
Kender and Joel have really caught up too. Oh, and there's the yellow flag on the back straight. That's Larson's had a spin, and he's touched the wall somewhere because he's missing part of his wing.
Oh, by the way, as we've been watching Icewind and Pretorius battling it out for the lead, we also have McKender in the mix now. Those two guys, both McKender and Joel, have gotten very close to those guys now. And now it's McKender trying to make a move on Pretorius as well. So both of the BWT trying to get past here for the race lead, fighting for those podium positions, and we also have Joel right behind them.
Joel ready to take advantage of any mishaps that may or may not happen as we enter the second half of this race. Now Larson picks up a penalty for speeding in pit lane. I suspect that's going to be a retirement, maybe. Or maybe not. That's good to see. It's nice to see people pushing on.
Yeah, and these F2 races can very quickly be worth to just carry on, keep racing. There might still be some opportunities presenting themselves, especially if some guys spin out or crash each other out in front.
Yep, it only takes one, and quite a lot of the grid is suddenly involved in it. I mean, you see how tightly packed this grid still is, and
yeah, just like we did see that earlier as well. Like the one contact between Der Hammer and somebody else, I'm not sure who it was, but yeah, that one contact made about 5 people lose a lot of positions and a lot of time. Right, so this DRS train here is, this DRS train here out in front is starting to stabilize a bit, I think. They're just staying in their positions, and they're breaking the toe for the guys behind.
Icewind doing a very good job to keep these guys behind him. Of course, he does not have slipstream or DRS benefit from anyone, so he's having to defend from these 3 every single lap.
Going a bit wide into turn 1 again, and McKender having a bit of a wiggle there as well, so...
And now we're going to see a move from on the Hammer from Futuristic. We are. Futuristic sends it down the inside into the first corner. He's made that stick, but Hammer's coming back down around him. They're side by side once more. Hammer gets all kinds of out of shape there, and that's cost him a bit of time. And Joel picks up a penalty.
Oh, that's going to hurt him a lot. He's not going to be in that fight for P1 anymore. But he might still be able to keep P4 because there's quite a bit of a gap to the guys behind that.
Be interesting to see if he can make anything work from this. McKender looked like he had a very slow entry into that corner, and Joel, I thought, had closed up a little bit. Could have just been a bit of a dodgy camera angle there, but yeah, this top 4 battling hard, pushing each other around the track constantly.
Icewind very much using all of the track here, locking up just a bit and going just that bit wider to make sure he still gets a good exit out of that turn, but Pretorius closing in ever so much.
It almost looks like these guys are struggling with dirty air when they're following each other. You'll see the gaps closing down the straight. You'll think there's going to be a move, and then they'll hit the corner, and suddenly the gaps widen out again as they struggle to stay in that dirty air.
Yeah, nobody's really catching up to anybody else over the course of a whole lap here, so there's only... Oh!
Again,
McKenna getting
Pretorius
very
is
close to
wide.
Pretorius!
Yeah. Just illustrating my point there about the dirty air. Pretorius just outbreaks himself, goes very, very wide. Speaking of very wide, Pemi's gone very wide in the first corner there. Crystals is right up behind him now and looking like he's going to have a go.
And
Does
we
he
have
have DRS?
We have another move of the hammer past Futuristic at the back. Yeah, we do see McKender struggling quite a bit here in the dirty air as well.
Futuristic has damage. I don't know where he's picked that up from. He's missing his right end plate. Meanwhile, Pemi and Crystals still slugging it out there. They're fighting for P5 right now. This is slowing both of them down, which is brilliant news for Joel, who's carrying that 3-second penalty.
Oh, those guys are so close here. Crystal, the one with the DRS now. He might be looking towards making a move here. But yes, they're definitely losing a lot of time to Joel. I think almost a second a lap.
Yep,
So it's looking pretty good for Joel. We also have Classic Boy now catching up to the back of back row. And he's getting closer every single lap, so there might be a move here as well.
Yeah. Head down and begin lap number 9. Oh, Classic Boy looks like he's outbraked himself a little bit. He's run very wide into that final corner.
Yeah, but he's
like
going to be able to catch back up.
Row, but...
I think he's going to be able to catch back up with the DRS now, and then
And
he
what's
might
going
still...
on up ahead? Crystals and Pemi are side by side in the first corner. Crystals down the inside.
Yes, Crystal with the DRS has made it past, but now on the second DRS straight, Pemi's going to be the one with the
And
advantage.
up at the front there's more going on.
Oh yeah, they're very close now.
Yeah.
McKenna looking towards another move here. But yeah, I think it's very true what you said earlier about the dirty air. They're really struggling once they're following a car closely. You see McKendry here going quite a bit wider than Pretorius did. And it's another penalty for Classic Boy.
Classic Boy absolutely has the pace, but needs to work a little bit on the corner cutting.
Oh, big lockup from Pretorius. Now McKenna right behind, but Joel's getting a really good exit here. And Icewind is pulling away out in front, even with the guys behind having DRS. Another move! Another move from Pemi against Crystal. And we also have Backrow and Classic Boy in that DRS train now as well.
Pemi and Crystal's having a wonderful fight, trading places almost constantly at the minute.
Oh, Pretorius has gotten a lot closer to Icewind. Oh, Pretorius is right on the back of Icewind now. If he gets a good exit out of the last turn, that should be the move.
McKender's right there as well. McKender looks like he looked like he was going to get a good exit there on that corner.
Yeah, he did get a good exit, and both of them are now chasing after Icewind. Icewind trying to break the toe. Is it enough though?
Is anyone going to send it? Joel sets fastest lap. Pretorius sends it onto the inside.
Oh, and it's McKenna who takes the outside line, and he's going to be in the inside on the inside of Pretorius now, and he is up into P2.
What a move from McKenna.
And Joel's still right behind as well, so he might still be looking to also make a move on Pretorius now that he's gotten out of shape. It is Pretorius and Joel in P3 and 4 for the Dams right now, but Pretorius definitely not giving up. I think Icewind just defended very well there. Very good defensive driving from Icewind.
Yeah, Pretorius went for the inside line there. McKenna decides, okay, I'll go around the outside, and just drove around him.
And now that McKenna and Pretorius are battling so hard, it's Icewind pulling away out in front. He's already gained half a tenth now. But now it's going to be McKenna with a really good exit here, and also the DRS on Icewind. So it's still very close between all of these guys out in front.
I wonder if we'll see any kind of team play going on here then. I would argue that Joel, for example, would be unwise to put too much pressure on Pretorius at the minute, as he stands to gain nothing from it. Better to let Pretorius try and fight past McKenna. And at the same time, you can say McKenna could possibly be slowing the guys up to try and allow Icewind to get a bit of a break. So
it definitely
plenty of strategic
like
calls that could be made here. No, definitely not. He's still pushing.
Very much looks like McKenna wants that victory for himself. Icewind breaking the toe again, as he does every lap, and McKenna not going with him. So McKenna really just trying to keep his line here, trying to get a good line through turn 1, I think, and just tucking in between behind Icewind, and Pretorius right behind still. McKenna got a really good run out there.
Oh, Pretorius has a little peek, dives back in again. Get some more of that sweet slipstream. It looks like he's had a really good run around that corner actually, just under 2/10 behind McKenna now. There's a yellow flag in the first sector. I think that's Plambert has had a bit of an incident down there.
Oh, Pretorius trying to go on the inside, trying to dive down the inside there, but it's not quite enough yet.
Second to last lap now as well. Oh, Joel breaks himself and goes very deep into that corner. That's cost him quite a bit of time there. He needs to be very careful now because any mistakes will cost him dearly if Pemi can close that gap. Joel actually on the verge of dropping out of DRS now as well, so he really needs to get caught back up again as quickly as he can in time for the main start-finish straight.
Crystal's also getting over so closer to Pemi, so we might see yet another move between those two guys, and Backrow still hanging on to the back of them as well. Yoda?
Yeah, Hammer manages to get round the outside of Yoda, up the hill on the left right hand there. And
nice.
Crystals picks up a penalty.
Alright, so that move by Crystal on Pemi might not matter that much then. By the way, Der Hammer is now in the points positions because of classic boys penalties, so quite a good way for him to close up that race, because he did of course have that spin in turn 1 quite a while ago, and he managed to get some positions back.
Larson's had a bit of an excursion to the gravel trap there, and he wisely pulls out the way for the leaders as they make their way through.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be in the middle of this battle right now. Looking very heated between all of these drivers.
It's still anyone's race. Any one of the top 3 could still win this. Joel's probably resigned to position 4 at the minute, but
yeah, we've seen a lot of these. We've seen a lot of these moves where somebody gets past somebody else, or is trying to get past somebody else, and then the resulting change isn't just one position change, but either 2 people get past them, or somebody else from behind gets past someone. So yeah, there could be just one move on the main straight this lap, and anything could happen really.
When
so
Pemi and Crystals are side by side once more. They are very close together. Backrow looks like he wants to have a go as well. Pemi might...
Crystal taking the outside. There's a bit of a tap. But Crystal now on the inside line, I think. No, not quite. He doesn't quite hang on there. And it's now Backrow right on the back of Crystal.
Going to jump back to the front of the grid now as we come around the final corner of the sprint race.
There's quite a big gap from Pretorius to McKenna. What happened there?
I think Pretorius had a bit of a sloppy exit on that corner. Unfortunately, Icewind's going to take the victory here. It's McKenna and Pretorius second and third, and Joel picking up 4th position there. Pemi looks like he's going to hold on to 5th from Crystals, who takes 6th.
Crystal! Oh, Crystal spinning past the finish line. Oh, and there's carnage!
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that looks very dangerous for these drivers.
Thank goodness it's all AI.
Almost worry about them. Yeah, that's true. As soon as the race is over, the drivers get teleported out of the cars, so everybody's safe. No need to worry about anyone. Yeah, very interesting race to watch here. Very much was fun to watch. We still have Futuristic closing up the race here on the medium tires as well. He's had a pit stop somewhere. So yeah, points positions are Icewind, McKenna, Pretorius, Joel, Pemi, Backrow, Crystal, and Der Hammer in P8. He almost got P7 from Crystal on penalties at the end there. And we're watching just carnage on both sides of the track here.
So then
right.
The bit that I always seem to struggle with is picking out a driver of the day from all this.
I think I know who I want to give it to. I think I want to give it to Joel. He's had 2 very good races. He's been improving all season, and I really think he deserves it. He's made up positions in the sprint race as well. he's kept it clean. Got that one penalty, of course, which was a shame, but he managed to hang on to the back of Pretorius here for the whole race, or the backs of McKenna and Pretorius. And in the feature race, he also very much managed to defend for the whole race. So really good defensive driving from him, very good hanging on to the back of these drivers, and pretty good result in the end as well.
Yeah, I think I absolutely have to agree with you on that one. I was thinking Joel for most of the races as we're watching it there. The other honourable mention I will say is probably Pemi, who looks like he's having jumped into this F2 season. Had a wonderful couple of races here tonight. So, but yeah, I think Joel, as you say, very worthy winner of the Driver of the Day title today. An unbelievable pace he's been showing recently as well. He's only getting quicker.
Alright, so let's move on to the interviews. Any drivers who would like to talk to us, please move to the interviews channel and we'll pull you right in here.
Okie dokie, well, Hammer's already in there, patiently waiting. Let's pull him in for a chat. Good evening, Hammer. Congratulations on your P3 finish in the first race there. Bit of a difficult sprint race for you there, though, as well. Tell us what happened there.
Yeah, so basically what I noticed in the feature race already is that on the hards I somehow struggled massively on the braking. So every time I brake too hard, my car started to slide or lock up, and then I just go straight. So yeah, what happened in the sprint race was basically that. It was a DRS train, and then turn 1 I braked and braked hard, but apparently too hard because my tires immediately locked. So it was I had to lift, and then of course I went straight. So I tried to avoid everybody, but I think it caused some sort of pileup behind me for sure. So that wasn't great. And then I just let everybody pass out of guilt. And then yeah, I tried to drive back. So I think in the end it was P8, but yeah, it was not a good sprint race. Like every lap on the hards was just not good. So yeah.
A tricky track, of course, for the tire degradation is quite high on this track. Why can't I say that? So yeah, no, it's there's some interesting things being played out there. We saw a lot of in the feature race, especially people jumping onto the hard tires as soon as the safety car came out, and then jumping back onto mediums and then back onto the hards again. I can't remember if you were one of those or not, but we're a bit confused as to what's going on there.
I think that was Pretorius because he started on the reverse strategy. So that's why I think he pitted twice, and some others might have done the same as well. But yeah, for me it was just easy. I was in front. I was P1 at that point.
Yep.
So yeah, I went to hards and then just went to the end. But also there, the first 2 laps after the restart, I struggled so much on the braking that like every braking zone I just lost the car, and then yeah, on the exit they would pass me. Luckily I could hold on to Joel then, and then drive to P3. But yeah, it was just for me, the mediums were fine, but the hards I wasn't prepared.
Yeah, I think
on these cars they're so different than on the F1 cars, obviously. So
I think we did see a lot of cars struggling with, especially with the braking. I think we saw a very high amount of lockups today. So maybe not just you struggling on those hard tires there, especially for some of the more experienced drivers as well. So I think it's just a track where it's really easy to lock up on those tires. And you did manage to get back quite some positions. You got back into the points positions in the sprint race as well. So pretty good drive from you there.
If somebody reports me and they're right to do so, then I probably won't for the sprint race. But yeah, no hard feelings. I mean, that was just a stupid mistake. I tried to get out of the way, but it wasn't possible. So, oh well.
Just take the good with the bad, as they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a mixture of races for you there tonight, then.
Yeah, I'm still pretty happy with the feature race, obviously. But yeah, the sprint race was just a bit of a mess.
Yeah, the feature race looked really good for you. It looked like the top 3, of course, you were involved in that as well. Managed to pull away quite easily from the rest of the field, and you're able to maintain that gap as well throughout the remainder of the race, which was really good. But yeah, I think that's about all I have, unless Eversnax has anything else.
We do have a break week next week. And then after that, we're gonna move to Vietnam. I think that's a very interesting track to talk about because I don't think it's quite everybody's favorite. How do you feel about that track?
Full. Yeah, absolutely terrible. I have only bad flashbacks from Vietnam. I mean, ask Futuristic about me and Vietnam. He has warm memories as well.
All right. Yeah, I think we'll hear quite some more of that today. All right. So thank you for joining us in the commentary booth here. Thank you for the interview, and we'll see you in 2 weeks then.
Yep. Bye bye.
Okay, who shall we pull in? Shall we pull in Futuristic next, since we're speaking about them?
Yeah.
Hello, Futuristic. Welcome to the commentary booth. We're just just before I forget, just speaking to Hammer there about Vietnam and some dodgy memories he may have. Have you got any thoughts about Vietnam in 2 weeks' time?
Well, I don't get it. I don't get it why we have those street circuit at the calendar. I mean, there's no point to have Bahrain or Vietnam like Singapore. There's no reason for it because, well, the F2 cars are not built for it, so it's gonna be a hard race. But yeah, the street circuits in general are pretty shits in F2 cars, in my opinion. So
Yeah, they do look quite tricky when we've seen the likes of Monaco and I think Azerbaijan as well quite recently as well. Looked a bit awkward, just a field full of front wing damage.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I pulled off a good move in Monaco, but yeah, that's only because of the cars are so much smaller compared to F1 car, where you actually can overtake in the street circuits, which is good, but well, the dirty air in the flowing section are just horrible.
Yeah. So as for your races today then, so I think you had what was that? 6th position finish in the feature race, and then you had a bit of a tricky race in the sprint race today. But it did look like you had a lot of battles. You were forever jumping up and down the timing tower there and fighting all the way around, which was fantastic to see. How did you find that?
Yeah, especially in the feature race, it was pretty good and fun battling when you don't have front wing damage. So yeah, that was pretty good. But then the F2 race was just horrible with to defend from guys who didn't have the front wing damage that I had. So I was just trying to go as long as possible, and maybe I was able to get some points, but on lap 9, I believe, or 8, I pitted to steal away the points for fastest lap, but apparently that's not how it works in F2, which is a bit shame. So I'm not that happy that, yes, I got the fastest lap in the sprint race, but
no reward for it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I think Joel was the one who got it in the sprint race, but he was his lap time was 2 tenths slower than mine, so which is a bit annoying that it doesn't count to steal away points. So
yeah, a bit frustrating there. I was going to say, oh yeah, your wing damage. I don't actually think we caught that. How did that happen? That was in the sprint race, sort of about halfway through, if I remember right.
I think it was pretty early, around lap 3 or 4, or maybe even start up lap 2. I can't remember who dive bombed me into turn 1, and yeah, just decided to park it on the exit when I had no point to. I could even make a way to avoid the guy who was stopped because I was so close to the apex already. But so I slammed into his side pod and got wing damage, which is
did look like you had okay, you were losing time to some of the guys further up, but you're actually driving incredibly well considering you had the wing damage for that long. Then I didn't actually realize you had it so early in the race. So It's good to see that. There's a couple of guys that have been doing that a lot this season. Yourself, one of them. Back roll, the other one seems to drive incredibly well with wing damage.
Yeah,
Almost doesn't affect them.
yeah, and I have decided to be harder on the guys I don't know or slash don't like. So some passing was easier for some, but was harder for others. So
Mhm.
that's just because of old time experience with them.
Yep. Sometimes good to remind people who's boss.
Yep.
But no, so yeah, so a bit of a mixed bag of results for you today, though. But yeah, like I say, some great fighting, and yeah, it was really fun to watch you just fighting it out cleanly and closely with a lot of the guys in the grid today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've already spoken about Vietnam, so you're another one who's not a fan. So I think it'd be interesting to see if we get anyone that's a fan. Actually, we'll have to ask everybody that we interview today. But
The odds
yeah.
are against it, so
So yeah, so we'll hopefully see you in Vietnam in 2 weeks' time then.
yeah, maybe.
Cool. Well, thanks for the interview. I'll move you back to the interview channel.
Yep, thank you.
Shall we pull in Icewind next?
Yes.
Hello, Icewind. Welcome to the commentary booth.
Hello.
A bit of a mixed bunch of results for you today. There's a few guys actually we've seen sort of swapping results up and down between the two races today. But yeah, not the best feature race for you, unfortunately, today. But then coming back to win the sprint race. So yeah, how was that for you?
Yeah, the first of all, the feature race I spun on my own, so that was completely of my own doing. And then I tried to get back, and then I had sort of another off there, or at least a semi off with can't remember exactly, was it Backrow and Azaiken, and I think one of them lost it like on the exit of turn 2, and ended up like in my side, and which threw me off the track for a bit. But I got back, and then I was like basically cursing like, God damn, I'm P9, and that's gonna be a pretty annoying sprint race. But then I actually realized I actually jumped to P8 because I think somebody ahead there had a lot of penalties or something. But yeah, then sprint race, I was kind of expecting that Pretorius would just blaze past me, but I think I had pretty good straight line speed because he got me like once or twice, and then I just every time overtook him again, and then Makander got past him at some point, I think, when we were battling, and then we just had like team orders on on Discord because I was with the Finnish boys, Makander and Pemi, and we just sort of decided to hold position there and sort of protect the 1-2 that we had managed to get. And yeah, that worked. So pretty happy with that. Otherwise, not so great in tier 1 today for me, and and the feature race was what it was. But yeah, it's at least nice to end on a positive.
It was really good to see that you part of the top 4 there in that sprint race, and kind of it was one of those fights where you kind of wonder what might be going on in terms of team orders and whatnot, because of course both you guys yourself and Pretorius racing with your teammates are there with you as well, also racing one another. So it's kind of like who's going to block, who's going to push, who's going to attack, who's going to let their teammate through. You know, so there's a lot of. I mean, we saw you holding position for quite a while to begin with. You were all kind of in the same order. It wasn't until closer to the end of the race where there were some passes and stuff being made. But despite that, it almost looked like there was a really close psychological, strategic battle going on there.
I think there definitely was, yeah.
So no, it was really good to see that. That was really enjoyable and great to commentate on.
Yeah, and yeah, it's I don't actually know why, but Pretorius, well, like at least for the last few laps there until Makander got to P2, he wasn't really able to attack me on the main straight. Maybe he was also struggling. I maybe actually read in the chat now that he started on worn tires for some reason. So maybe that was one thing that put him on a back foot. But yeah, it's really difficult to drop anybody out of DRS on that track.
I must say, it's something we commentated on when you were driving, when we saw you were in the lead there. You were able to hold off the attacks from Pretorius quite or rather,
Yeah.
there wasn't even any attacks, like you say. It was kind of almost like he was struggling in the dirty air a little bit. So he wasn't actually able to close up on you despite having the DRS. It was almost like you were getting a better exit out of most of the corners.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I had good straight line speed in that setup, which was a bit of a surprise to me. I don't know what kind of wing settings those guys were running the other ones, but I was running 3.7 today, and yeah, it definitely seemed to work for me. And after I realized that basically the only spot where he can really attack me is at the main straight, so I was just focusing on the exit out of the final corner every time, and yeah, it kind of worked. So yeah, pretty happy with that result. I think the God, I should know what team they're in. The Joel and Pretorius team. Anyway, they scored like a couple more points in these two races than us. But yeah, it's gonna be a good battle, I think.
Yeah, I think the top of the championship is certainly getting quite lively now. The points are getting very close together, so as we're making our way into the closing few races. So speaking of which, I think we've got a break week next week in F2, and then we're in Vietnam. I'm going to ask you because I asked everybody else so far, and so far it's been a no from everybody. But Vietnam, yes or no?
Well, I think I'm a little wrong person to answer that because I was one of the guys who decided that we would do it. So the idea there was that because we're not really going to race there again, and we didn't have it in the F1 season, we figured we'll put it in the F2 season as well. And I mean, yeah, I think I haven't really heard of many people who would be a fan of that track, but you know, it's gonna be something else, something different anyway. Hopefully, people still show up at least. So this is just requesting everybody to still show up, even if you don't like the track.
It would probably be fair to say that it's a bit of the track's a bit of an equalizer in a way, because a lot of guys maybe don't prefer that track at all. So there'll maybe be less people that have had much driving experience on it, and then like you say, it hasn't really shown up in any of the F1 seasons or anything either. So lack of experience might lead to a bit more level playing field, as if we really need it in F2.
I suppose we'll see what happens. I will definitely do my traditional 5-lap practice only. So yeah, it's but yeah, I mean, I definitely don't really like Bahrain that much. So I don't know. We'll see how we do in Vietnam in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Okay, well, congratulations again on your victory in the sprint race. Commiserations
thanks.
on the feature race, but yep, onwards, upwards, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time in Vietnam.
Yep. All right. See ya.
All right. Thank you.
Shall we pull in our driver of the day?
Yes, let's go ahead.
Let's get him in. Hello, Joel, and driver of the day. Welcome to the commentary booth.
Thank you.
Some phenomenal racing from you today. We thought we were commenting the whole time in both races, just how much you've been improving in the F2 season from having just started out, well, a handful of races ago, and kind of performing averagely, not in a bad way, but sort of midfield as you'd kind of expect. And yeah, you've just been steadily improving. Have you been putting on any practice at all?
No.
So how do you do it? I need some tips.
Customary 5 laps before each race. Yeah. I don't know. I just go and grab a setup, check it's all right, and then don't do anything for an hour, and then it's the race. So I don't know. I guess I've been sort of learning on the job, as it were, but that you can brake later and you can get on the power earlier than I thought, because once you drive them enough, these cars are actually a lot less tame than you think originally. If you get the throttle in the right position at the right time. But once you've got like a quarter of the throttle on, you can basically floor it even without traction. So I think the more you race with it, the more you realize how much you can push it and that it's not actually so risky. I think most people think that, you know, the turbo kicks in and as soon as you get to like third gear, you have to lift off the throttle, otherwise you're going to go spinning. And same with locking up as well. I never lock up. I've never locked up once because I use ABS, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. So I'm probably one of those people that lifts off and stuff with fear of spinning, but yeah, that's why I'm not in the F2 season. But yeah, no, quite a commanding drive from you in the feature race today. Looked pretty flawless, looked pretty under control.
I mean, it wasn't under. Did you get the incident between me and Hammer on stream? Because I think I turned in on him. We were in VC, and that's what he said. But I lost the 5 seconds, and Bekenda was pulling away from me like 4/10 per lap or something before that. So I really thought that the win was out. The win was done because I wasn't closing in on him for quite a long time. So I managed to pull that out in the final lap. I think I closed like 4/10 or something.
Yeah, I think I was just commentating on it being just about 5 seconds of a gap, and then you were suddenly just catching up by 10th after 10th, and it was just enough at the end. So
yeah, it was the
you
first
just managed
lap.
to catch him.
It was the first lap. The last one was like the first lap in like 5 or 6 that I didn't look at the gap for the whole lap. I just focused on the racing line and getting everything perfect. Thankfully, I managed to hold on. And then the second race was really fun, even though I couldn't make any overtakes. I was just on the back with a penalty, so I said to Prey, I'll just stay behind because there's no point going for an overtake on my teammate when I've got a penalty. So just watching it was pretty fun, and getting the jump on Makendo was good at the start, but then I couldn't really do anything to defend from him on the straight. So overall, pretty good. Fastest lap in the second race as well.
Yeah, we're speaking
Which I
to
didn't
Icewind before
realise.
we.
Yeah.
We're speaking to Icewind before we speak to yourself, and talking about the sort of 4-man train that you had at the end of the sprint race there, and the kind of strategic mind games and whatnot that were going on. Were you in VC with Pretorius then for that race at all?
Yeah.
So was there any kind of team play or whatnot going on there then? Because what I said to Icewind was it was almost like you could see to begin with there was probably a bit of difficulty with the dirty air and whatnot. Like the gaps were staying much the same, and there wasn't much position changing going on until the end. But at the same time, it still looked really intense, and like there was a lot of strategy going on despite this, and a lot of mind games and whatnot. Did you kind of ever get a feel for that at that point at all?
Yeah, I mean, even without speaking to Prey, it was still obvious that people were planning things, but I was just at the back, so I guess I was probably in the best position without any pressure from behind. But there wasn't much communication between me and Prey, other than before I got a penalty, he asked me to try and put some pressure on Makenda so he could go off to Icewind and not worry about behind, which I tried to do, but I just couldn't close in enough on the DRS train. And then once I got my penalty, as I said, I just told Prey that I'm not going to go for the move, so he doesn't have to worry about that and he can focus ahead. So, yeah.
I think we did see you battling Makender quite a bit there, but at some point he just managed to get away from you just that slight bit. And I think there was a mistake from Pretorius as well, so he managed to get past with quite a late break there.
What happened with Pretorius? I know you in the last interview with Futuristic, you're talking about his tyres. They were a lot worse, almost like twice the wear of the other 3 of us. Because in the feature race, he started on the hards. Safety car came out. He decided to pit onto the mediums. They weren't going to go to the end, so he pit back onto a fresh set of hards again under the safety car. So those are the ones he went to the end on. So then in the sprint race, he had to use the set of hards that he'd already done 6 laps on in the first race. So his tyres started on like 20%.
That makes a lot of sense now, actually. Then, now you've explained that. Yeah, we were quite confused as to what was going on with all the constant pit stopping under the safety car. It felt like they'd only just pitted the lap before, and then they were pitting again, and yeah, it was all a bit a bit confusing at the time. But yeah, no, it was a brilliant couple of races from yourself. We've been asking everyone because well, everyone except for Icewind so far have been a resounding sort of distaste. I don't know, but Vietnam in 2 weeks' time. Are you looking forward to it? That's another no.
Yeah, maybe, because it's F2. If it was F1, I just wouldn't even answer that question. But I mean, F2 is. I haven't done it in F2 before, so might be a bit better. But I suppose I'm more inclined to liking F2 at the moment, just because it's easier for me to get better results. But that's sort of the thinking behind that. But yeah, I'll find out on Saturday whether it's good or not.
All right.
Cool. Well, yeah, I will let you get back underway then. Congratulations on your victory. Congratulations on Driver of the Day, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for Vietnam.
Right, thank you.
And last but not least, let's have a chat with Classic Boy. Hello, Classic Boy. Welcome to the commentary booth.
Hello.
So you had a lot of pace actually today. You looked like you had quite a lot of good battles all the way up and down. A couple of penalties sneaking in there in both races, but yeah, generally speaking, it looked quite lively from you. How did you find that today?
The pace, I didn't have any pace at all because I put the wrong setup on. Very good.
What setup were you running? Was it just like a default setup, or was it one that you'd?
Maximum top speed.
All right. I mean, at least on your straights, you could battle people. I think we actually did see you battling quite a lot of people there, and you did get points in the feature race as well. I think, even with the penalties. So yeah, I think at some point we even saw you trying to overtake Bailey, which is quite impressive. We don't see a lot of people managing to catch up to the back of Bailey. So quite some good battles. How was the fighting for you?
Absolutely shit.
All right then. Well, you just not a fan of wheel-to-wheel battles then, or was it just not feeling very good because of the setup?
No. Everybody was playing little dirty on me. I didn't like it, bro.
All
Yeah,
right,
we did see a
so
lot of that. To be fair, a lot of bumping and nudging, and no damage though from many people, which is good. So
Yeah.
somewhat clean, but yeah, there was a bit of pushing and shoving going on today.
So the first race is the feature race, right?
yes.
Okay, the feature race, I was battling futuristic, and I thought he pushed me wide. That's why I got a penalty. But I don't have the video in events. I'm not gonna even say that. So I don't know if he really did, and he's saying he didn't. So yes.
Right. So maybe something for the FIA to look at. Maybe he might have his point of view there.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely still some good battles there as well. I think there were a lot of battles, and I just assumed that not all of them were that bad. In 2 weeks, well, we have a break week next week, but in 2 weeks we'll be in Vietnam. Given that I think you like Baku quite a bit, so how's Vietnam for you as another street track?
Well, that's definitely another no.
No, I like it.
Oh wow, really?
Yes.
Have you driven the F2 cars in Vietnam before?
Once or twice.
Honestly, I think that's more than we can say about most people. So, yeah, it could be another good race for you then to join us in. So we might see you back in 2 weeks then.
Can I make a complaint to the back row dude?
Well, if it's an FIA inquiry, maybe that's where to put it. But we can talk about the race you had for sure.
I'm just gonna say, in the feature race, he dive bombed me into the pits. I got scared. I pressed on the gas and got up spinning in the pit lane. Penalty for it. So.
All right. So yeah, quite some very close battling today. A bit of contact as well. But I think that's also something that might just go away with some more driving experience on behalf of all the drivers there, especially in F2, a lot of people don't have that much experience with these cars. I think that's just something that will iron out with time.
And in
All
the
right.
sprint, and okay, this is the last thing. And on the sprint race, he pushed me wide. I wish I had the video evidence for it, but he clearly did. But I don't have it because this game doesn't want to give it to me anymore.
It's worth checking your F1 theater after the race in case the in-game thing has it.
I just did, but
Oh.
it didn't show me it, which is amazing. Very good, very good.
So yeah, no, maybe time for a Twitch channel or something then to stream your races on.
No. Absolutely no.
All right. Well, maybe you can think of some solution for next time around, and we might see you again in 2 weeks then.
Yeah, maybe just record the whole race and do something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us in the commentary booth, and
Yeah.
we'll
I
see you in
did-
2 weeks' time.
I didn't win my €2.
Yeah. You did
Sad.
not get a podium.
Well, I'm not my fault.
All right.
Yes.
Maybe see you in 2 weeks in Vietnam then.
Yes. See you later, beautiful men.
Goodbye.
See you later. Okay, I think that rounds it off for tonight.
Yeah, definitely some interesting interviews to have there. Some different views, especially on the Vietnam track in 2 weeks as well. A lot of no's, I'd say, but yeah, we're definitely hoping to have some very interesting racing there as well. Could be fun in these F2 cars, really.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm actually really looking forward to the Vietnam race. I mean, I've never driven on the track properly, not because I don't like it, just because it's not been in the in our league calendars at all in the seasons. So yeah, it's a curious track. I think it'll be interesting to watch and commentate on because I simply don't really know the layout all that well. I have a rough idea of what it looks like, but no experience driving on it. So it's going to be great to see. I guess kind of watching with the viewers from a sort of viewing standpoint rather than kind of learning as we go sort of thing rather than knowing the gist of what's going to be happening.
Yeah, so will definitely be very interesting in 2 weeks. Hopefully we'll get some really close battles, both in the lead, like we had today, and all the way down the field as well, as we usually do in F2. We have some very close battling for sure.
Yep.
And we'll see you again in 2 weeks then. Join us again for the race in Vietnam.
Yep,
And
we'll see you all later.
all right, thank you for watching today, and goodbye.